there's been some talk this week of uh, the guest characters that can come to Tekken. And in that, well, interestingly enough, actually, while Harada was answering some of these questions, I tweeted out some wild, awesome footage. Bloody Roar 2 Vietnamese tournaments are awesome and
Yeah, they're
crazy.
crazy. I saw that shit when you retweeted it. It was bananas.
They're playing on a different version of the game called APC Bloody Roar 2, which is all points cancel, which is essentially just a Bloody Roar 2 mod that makes it so that you can cancel out of anything. And the end result is an insanely beautiful, awesome competitive game where people can just pop in and out of beast form.
You just turn fucking Bloody Roar into DNF.
It looks so awesome in action. It's great. And yeah, that tweet was going around. Check out the high level Bloody Roar tweet I put out. It's fucking so fucking cool. But anyways, from there, Harada has been asked, hey, what about, Bloody Roar characters getting in Tekken or Virtua Fighter characters getting in Tekken since, Terry's coming to Street Fighter. He went on a really long-winded, detailed explanation that essentially was, LOL Lamau. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you even on about? These games getting guest characters is essentially meant to be a mutually beneficial situation. Who benefits from a character showing up that everyone goes, what? Who?
Who's Jackie?
Yeah, and then actually even echoes the sentiment, which Sakurai did say. It's true. When Terry and Kazuya showed up in Smash, all the kids and all the Zoomers that were like, who the fuck is this old man? What is this? Why do we care? Where's Sora? Where's Steve? So that same energy applying to Tekken with Virtual Fighter or other 3D games showing up. He's like, it just doesn't make sense. It might make sense if these games came back, and so he's kind of like, Virtual Fighter coming back, it's long overdue for a return. If that came back, it would make more sense as a more contemporary title. But as it stands, putting a guest character from a dead franchise in doesn't make sense for Tekken.
So, if you had to pick a singular guest character from the fighting game pantheon to be in the Tekken 8, who would you pick, Woolie?
From fighting games?
Yeah, from fighting games. Like a Geese or like a Terry or a Mai,
I mean, there's a lot of good possibilities. It doesn't have to be Capcom or yeah.
Nah, anything.
I mean, Kiryu is still the best answer, but that doesn't really apply here, I suppose.
I think, especially considering they're both Namco properties, I think it would be, it'd be most interesting and easiest to include a Soul Calibur character. I think they should go back and get a one-off character from Soul Calibur 2 called Heihachi Mishima and put them into Tekken 8.
I see.
I think that would be a really good guest character.
I see.
I think he would fit right in.
Okay, what if it was just a robot called Hachikun?
Fuck it, I don't give a shit.
And he had the little wingtip hair sticking off, and Lee was in charge of him. That's possible too.
It is.
Hey, Hachi.
It's funny. I think it was Max that was talking on Twitter about like how fighting game stories like shouldn't matter in regards to like the roster, and then Harada just retweeted him with the phrase "completely dead." Like, he didn't mention Heihachi, but Harada just goes, "He's dead. He's fucking dead."
I don't hate it. I don't. I like when things can move. Oh, I like it. I don't hate it. I am okay with move lists being translated into other shapes and forms because we can do that with 3D characters, especially now. I'm okay with spiritual successors, but I am super down with dead being dead, right? In a world where I grew up, where the thing I loved, a Street Fighter 2, was stuck forever, not being anything, like just perpetual. Everything is stuck in time forever. I fucking love it. I get so excited by that. When I first saw Rock Howard and Terry without the hat and a costume change makes me lose my shit from KOF to KOF.
Funny. I think Rock Howard is a really good example of Rock Howard shows up in like one game and he's like brand new and everyone's yeah, wow, Rock Howard, and then spends like 15-20 years going what like totally defeating the whole purpose of Rock Howard in the first place.
I mean, they're like literally I remember when like Rick Stroud fanboy was practically a slur in certain forums online, and it's like you just have to accept in your heart that like Rick Stroud is never coming back. And then Vanessa came back. And Vanessa was like, oh, it's the new Rick Stroud. They just gave her all the same moves. Okay, she's a 30-year-old MILF. Let's go. That's fine. We can roll with that. Rock Howard never fucking showing up until CVS 2. Yeah, it burns. It hurts. But either way, man, I am super duper down with dead being fucking dead. And to that end, I also, like, it doesn't have to just be fighting games. I also am just like, you know, like Sigma is just an eye roll every time. Who fucking cares what he's up to or what he's trying to do at any point in that franchise? Can you run, jump, and shoot, man? Yes, you can. Can you dash, maybe Hadouken, or absorb cool powers and do awesome things? You sure can. But but the idea of like, yeah, who the fuck cares? It's a Mega Man story, or who the fuck cares? It's a fighting game story. It doesn't have to be that way. It sucks that it always is that way, and so the expectations are so low that you can say who the fuck cares? It's a stupid story that never mattered, but it doesn't have to keep not mattering. We can make it matter. We can do things there.
You're crazy. You're insane. You're
hate
completely
it.
Nuts.
Okay, well, we can make good things be good and also good in other places. Like, just because like we can make the gameplay good.
And that's why Street Fighter 3 New Generation was such a massive success.
The gameplay being good doesn't mean the other things have to be bad. We can have many good things. It's
Woolie,
okay.
You're never going to convince people to not like the things they already like.
I'm not trying to convince anyone to not like the things they like. I'm saying the defeatist, stupid attitude of who the fuck cares? It's just a story in a type of game that stories shouldn't matter in is stupid and shitty, and it's a dumb take because that doesn't need to be that way. It can be good.
Here's the issue.
There's no reason it has to be shit. Like
here's the issue with that. The reason why like fighting game storylines are always going to be a problem, specifically for this reason, is because most people's exposure to a fighting game storyline is explaining why the character they like to play is no longer available. Once again,
you can still have a world where the playable version of the character that the person wants is there. These are separate arguments.
But I don't want to play as Christy. I want to play as Eddie Gordo.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if there's differences between the way they play or whatever the version of the character is, the spiritual successor, whatever the case is, you can do that. You can have your non-canon ghost character if you want to do that as well selectable. You can Nightmare Geese it up if you need, whatever the case is. You can make your concessions, but the point remains that the events don't have to be dumb. And the moment, anytime what I'm focusing on here is anytime you talk about anything related to the story in any of these types of games and somebody goes, yeah, but it's always shit, who cares? And it's just like, yeah, I know, but it would be nice if it was good. That's it.
It would be, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about characters should never be beholden to whatever fucking storyline they have. You sound just like Combo Fiend explaining why you don't actually need Magneto, because characters are just functions.
No, I'm just saying that it's nice if the things the reason why I think, like, if the reason why I enjoy, like, when it's like, oh, why don't you, I was asked many times by many people, why don't you play Blanca? Dude, Blanca's in this game, he's at his best. Why don't you fucking play Blanca? Dude, it's the right time. You should be playing Blanca, etc., and so on and so forth. And every single time I answer, because I think Marissa's cool. Because I enjoy her. I think she's rad. I enjoy playing the game for that purpose. It's fun. Is she better than him? Not necessarily. Will she? Whatever. I don't know. I don't care. I want to enjoy the game because I think the thing is cool. A part of what I think is cool is the settings. Yeah, I know. The character being cool. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say that I don't care about the reasons. I think the character being cool that I can play as should be there, and that should be the end of the thought, right?
That's not what I was going to say.
Okay. Then sorry. What is it?
You're saying that there are people out there that go, but I like Blanca. I want to play as Blanca. Blanca is cool. And if they encountered a storyline
That's
reason
exactly
that said,
what I just
by the
said,
way,
Pat.
Blanca,
You just said what I said. You're saying exactly what I said. That is what I said. You're going to say that the thing being the cool thing, I don't care about the other reasons around it. I just want the thing. I get that. And that's, I know that's the point. What I am saying, though, is that, like, if the game is just a dream match, there is no story, it doesn't matter, everyone's in it, who cares, then yeah, it doesn't have to actually be tied to anything happening in the events of whatever world we're writing up and stuff. And if you want there to be a character that's there for no reason, that's selectable, I have no issue with that too. That can be there. I'm just like, if we're going to have anything resembling a story mode, or anything resembling characters like changing or things happening over time with them, if we're going to give Ryu a beard or whatever the case is, for the people that are a part of the events of that thing, it would be nice if these elements of the games that usually are ignored can be cool ones too. Can not just be things that you get used to ignoring because they always suck, or that's the case.
People's experience with these stories is telling you that their character that they wanted to play as died or quit. Like
I said,
Mortal Kombat, a game that has like the big story. It's like, hey, you can't play Noob Saibot in this game. Why? Oh, then the reason given is not we didn't want to include Noob Saibot. It's because they're dead. And if I just want to play Mortal Kombat to play Noob Saibot, why the fuck do I give a fuck about the story if it just tells me I can't play the character I want to play?
I'm just gonna end up repeating it again. Like, that's it. They can be there. The people that can get the character they want to play as, that's not connected to anything, and that can be there without anything. It's just, if it's going to be connected to the thing, it would be cool if that part of the game was done in a way that was interesting and compelling as well. I'd like things to have as many compelling points outside of the gameplay and inside the gameplay as possible.
Wait, what are you talking about now? Now you're talking about just the storyline. I'm like the whole point we were talking about is you were talking about Rick Stroud becomes Vanessa.
Yeah, and ultimately, right? Yeah, and then the move transfers, and the moveless transfers over to this new version of the character.
But this was like more generally based on like Heihachi to Reina, right?
No, well, but Heihachi and Reina are different characters. Their move lists are different.
But like, you said the translation of the move list, like Michelle became Julia, Heihachi became Reina. Every version of Jack became Jack, the next Jack, right? Like the reason I can't play Heihachi in Tekken is because the story says Heihachi's dead.
Okay, so this is getting all messy and all over the place, but the train of thought to continue down is the stories are bad, and it doesn't matter who lives or dies. The characters should always be there. And my thought is, I would like if the stories were good in these games. And like if there is a character that is not around anymore, if there's some consequential change or something in the world that happens or whatever the case is, it's cool if you have ways to like if you want to do a spiritual successor interpretation of a character. I think that's dope. I think it's awesome that a character like Rock Howard exists and has some of Terry's moves and some of Gee's moves. That's cool. If there is a like available character that has no part of the story whatsoever, it's flashback Heihachi or something, then yeah, you can do that. You can find ways, you can come up with ways to make it so that there is the character that you just want to play as that is your favorite on the roster. I'm not going to fight that point. There's ways you can come up with, whether it's, if you don't like the idea of the Christy Montiero or whatever, you just want the thing to say Bison and you get your dictator and that's there. We can do that, right? I'm just saying that, like, I enjoy when it's not just that. I like when there are things that change and evolve and characters and things that move through time, and Ryu gets a Shinshōryuken that's a part of what's going on with what he's trying to do. Like, I like when these things happen and I can enjoy these aspects of the game beyond just the kit being what it is and functions, right? It's not the combo fiend thing. And I'm like, anything that leans heavily in towards the character and their play style and what's happening on the roster, representing the world and the living, breathing world and things changing and stuff and all that being good, then I want that to be the priority. And then we can still if you just want to have the over here, go grab the thing, there's the guy you like, then yeah, we can do that. But if there's a better way to integrate that into the story that is reflective of other changes and things that might be happening, then my preference is towards that. And that's I don't know what else to. That's the most I can break this down as, I guess.
I feel like a 2 to 4 hour fighting game story that most half of players won't even play is a weird like nail in the ground to
It doesn't.
think
It
of
doesn't
like
have to,
Third
but it
Strike.
doesn't have to be that. That's my point, I guess. Is just like that's not the only point. That's one thing. Like the type of fighting game story that comes out that currently sucks or is not good. Like, I
I mean
mean,
all of them.
yes, the thing that you're like, oh, when we first see them, yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and defend and say that, oh, they have the best stories. I'm gonna compare it to the shit that we get hit that we hit and love, right? I picked a genre that I have an affinity to that is in extreme opposite to the things that you guys got into with Final Fantasy and RPG games that are nothing but narrative and nothing but
Mhm.
depth and lore and characters and story and all these things that are like feeling like you read a full book and got a full 360 of a character and their depths and their meanings and motivations. I know that I picked a thing where it's like it's chess pieces. They're dressed up chess pieces fighting. And so
Mhm.
it's nice when like you can do something that actually is like, oh, this is more interesting than I thought. This is more satisfying. There's elements to this that I find cool because as you start to care about these chess pieces over time and they do things and we sit here and go through multiple iterations of this, it's going to be like, it's nice when, again, good things can be good, right? So I know that like stories and fighting games were always garbage, and they were just like you get to the end of arcade mode, you see a couple like spreadsheet, whatever, PowerPoints, and then we move on. And then you're like, oh, all of a sudden, oh, Mortal Kombat tried something out. Here's a cinematic thing. You're like, oh, this is interesting. The events are wacky and goofy and dumb, and like over the years they've gotten sillier with each one. But it's like, oh, they tried something crazy with this whole like you take a different character each chapter. That's kind of interesting. And then a bunch of fighting games started trying to copy that and do that thing, and like
Mhm.
some to various degrees of success. Infinite was terrible at it, but it was something they tried to do that you're like, okay, there's a thing you can try here where if the characters in a chapter to chapter story mode emulating what Mortal Kombat 9 did the first time are still playing out, but the events occurring are not dumb and don't suck, then this could be an interesting way to present a story in a fighting game, right? Guilty Gear goes the complete opposite way with it and says, I'm just gonna have you sit here and watch an anime. We don't even give a fuck. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's a complete like tap out of trying to work in the gameplay and stuff. But I can see the difficulty of that. But and then somewhere in between those is Melty Blood, where you play through 20 minutes of visual novel to get one round of a fight, and then go through another 20 minutes, which is also not satisfying
Mhm.
either. These are all different attempts at doing the same thing, and like they're various degrees of success and failure. But my point remains the same, I suppose, which is that if someone writes a good, compelling story and it's interesting to follow along with, that can exist in any one of these games, and and there can be a way to deliver a story that ends up not being shit. It's not stuck with the genre that it has to be a shit story.
Okay. Before I have something else to say, but before we go onwards, I would like you to name a compelling fighting game story that is not Mortal Kombat 9.
Good luck.
Okay, well there's a point of agreement.
Evil Zone with the Saturday morning gimmick that they run because you're watching a bunch of TV shows, even though the gameplay is terrible. It's kind of a
Yeah.
funny gimmick of watching different channels.
Like I kind of just want to wrap it back around. Like the whole point is I actually just really agree with Max of that the story should not focus any concessions to the story they want to tell should not affect the roster. Like that's it. Like even the game that Heihachi died in, he was selectable after like 6 months in Tekken 5.
Yeah, I guess I think it can affect a roster in the sense that a character can get a move list that reflects something different based on something in the story happening to them, or whatever the case may be. The characters can get updated in ways over time if there's reasons for that to be a thing, and those changes or things based on those story-based reasonings, I think it would be cool if those existed as a priority over just an X copy of the existing character, I suppose. But
There is also like I'll actually put it out there. There is an agree to disagree here. Because you and I are on the opposite ends.
I mean,
of this.
I literally, by the way, have not said that in over 10 years since that I got shit on for doing that a decade ago.
No,
or
but
whatever the case is.
I am offering
For
it
the
out there
record.
because our personalities are so different on this, and it makes me think, because I can occasionally be stuck in my ways, and you're much more open-minded to these kinds of things, and it makes me think, because like you look at Hugo, right? And Hugo is the grappler archetype in Third Strike, and I really like Hugo, but I would have preferred to play Geef. Right? I would have just preferred Geef because I like Geef better than Hugo, right? But Hugo's cool, and he was my only option, right? And you generally want to see like new characters or even remixes of existing characters, right? And I think back to me playing Bloodstained and being like perpetually annoyed for the entirety of the time I played Bloodstained that the villain was not Dracula. Like the whole time I was just like, I want to go fight Dracula. I'm well aware that this is like
now
mechanically doesn't matter.
Could it be
purely presentation?
Now here's now whatever the villain was in that game, I assume it was not as compelling or as interesting as a Dracula from Castlevania.
That was some guy.
Sure,
I don't even remember his name.
But if we were to take a second back in the other topic that came up earlier, a game like a Bloodborne comes along, and this fits into a version of a Souls franchise game that you've been playing a couple different versions of. That's a knight in a fantasy setting going around dealing with dragons and lords and such, but here's a completely different setting with a different time and different things representing that. And everything in Bloodborne, despite being somewhat mechanically similar to what you already knew, is a new setting that is interesting enough that you don't for a second go, damn, I wish I was seeing anything like Artorias or anything from a previous thing, because this setting itself just happened to be fucking cool. If Bloodstained, if Bloodstained offered you an awesome not Dracula to fight at the end of that you probably wouldn't even be thinking about Dracula, but whatever it did made you go, damn, I wish this was Dracula, but like it just wasn't good enough, you know?
But like that's why I think like Street Fighter 3 with a completely new cast was like a big mistake, because if they had called that Fighting Street or whatever, I wouldn't go in with the expectation of like, where's the characters that I want to play?
It 3. And it's the wild, hilarious world we live in is the one where on the same time that is the case, we now live in a world where we will not stop seeing people outcry for Makoto to return.
Yeah.
But Makoto that never existed, if we were just to return to the old, had to exist out of the void at some point. There was a time.
This is where it gets complicated.
There was a time before the new character became the favorite. They had to exist first in the world to then show up as a new idea to then become the favorite.
This is where it gets really complicated, because some of the people asking for Makoto back were not alive when Makoto was the new character. The character predates their birth. And any character that existed before you were alive is obviously, well, they always existed, but they're always there.
But there are others that are adamant, fervent fans and favorites of characters that come out in the game that they love the most, and they want those characters to return in the future. And like as we move through time, it's a really hard problem to solve, but it's like when you give a new character an opportunity to show up, they have the chance to become your new favorite. And
I think
it's easy to not to lose, I guess, sight of or lose track of the fact that you might never ask for something new, even though that new thing might be your favorite, because you're just looking at what you're already familiar with. You know, it's instinctual, I think, to some degree, but I think about it a lot.
Street Fighter 6 is like a really good example of all three of the versions of this argument. So you have the main cast, right? But people are asking for Makoto. They're asking for Makoto from Third Strike to come back as Makoto from Third Strike, right? Like a Street Fighter 2 character. Like, please come back the way you were. Then you have Aki, who is a character that no one liked,
in a weird,
turned into a character that people do like. And people going, yeah, Aki, right? And then you have Bison, a character that I like and I really like in the old games that people are like, boo, get him out of here. He's old. I wish it was a new Bison.
And so I think what we have is ultimately a really hard problem to solve for these rosters that, like, these games have to figure out what the best approach is to make as many people happy, right? You need to make new things that appeal to new people, but new things that appeal to old people, and old things that appeal to old people, and old things that appeal to new people. It's tricky to balance how you're offering what up to your multivariate fan base that all have different demands. I think what we're currently getting is it reflects that the people that have thought about the things that we're talking about here kind of conclude, yeah, we need to give people some shit that they really want, that are staples, that they're like attached and remember it strongly. We need to bring some shit that is like remixes of old things that you are take with a new interpretation, and some things that are brand new. I think you kind of realize you need to run the gamut and appeal to as many people as possible with different versions of these things, because the whole appeal of the toy box genre that is fighting games is which of these toys do you think is dope and has your attention, you know? So they need to cover all those bases, and that's what they're currently doing.
I think that Capcom is really brave to have Bison come back and be exactly the same. I think the brave move was to have him come back as the same guy.
It is definitely the wildest, because of all the people that like a Bison is the one who died the most and is the most
died every game,
like of all the characters, you know. It's like no one's gonna really think about, hey, what's Vega up to, whatever, but the guy who keeps dying, the Sigma, the Palpatine. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
The other thing, I think that Blaze Blue's story, despite it being incomprehensible and I hate it, gets a lot of props for like just keeping every character going forever. Like forever. Like the Blaze Blue series gets big props for me for just adding more characters every time, never removing.
Yeah, Blaze Blue and Smash for a lot of folks represent the madness of a roster that is insurmountable. You cannot play, you cannot learn. It's just, you want to talk about the feeling of, I stopped playing this fighting game, I came back to it a little bit later, and now I can't handle anything that's going on because I've been left in the dust. Fucking games that have ever-long rosters of just 60 plus characters are the ultimate version of, this is impenetrable, I can't come back in. Like, it's what you described, the feeling of jumping back into a game of like multiplied exponent fucking 10, you know.
I think the League of Legends fighter might have that problem also, the 2x KO.
Yeah, I get, and we'll see.
Like, that has a roster laid out for it, and just keep it going until you hit the whole gang. The whole gang. Everybody. Christ, is that even possible? I think that like they're making new League characters faster than you can make new fighting game characters.
I mean, I would say just based on the size of the teams and budget of those games respectively, like 2XKO is, the Radiant team is not able to output the level of League's team. Like, you know, it's the main project, it's the flagship. It's going to be able to do...
Like we're expecting like 52 characters in 2XKO, right?
League of Legends probably has 3 times its roster in the garbage bin, unreleased, than what's playable right now. I imagine for every character you can play, there might be 2 that never came out. Or
okay,
prototypes.
There's 167 currently. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So let's be kind and say a quarter of that. So like we're looking at like what, 45, 50? Does that seem fair?
No.
That game is, people are going to be so mad when that shit is anything less.
Folks are going to be happy about theirs coming back, and if they make that cut, they'll make the cut. But that game's not going to be in its final shape with any number that'll make people happy. It'll always be shy of that. A sequel might add more, and that'll be cool because you'll get, hey, a burst of everything you knew, plus here's another 12 or whatever the case is.
Oh, do you think 2XKO would have a sequel? I just figured they'd keep working on it forever like League.
I mean, if they, like, yeah, they could. I don't know that any other Riot game has ever done that, but a fighting game always could like decide to stop, add some wild new mechanics, and then put a new version out if they wanted to make some money on that. But I don't know that their Riot's I don't know that Riot's method is to ever like take a free thing and then put gameplay behind a charged. I don't know. You can look at their other games, I suppose. I have no experience with Riot's marketing tactics and stuff.